parts reverse engineering and analyze the pieces of the car to be aware of what role each piece plays.
We also started replicating the actual parts of the Apex car by using PTC Creo. We also began doing the assemblies such as the chassis and the subcomponents of the tires.
The design of the car show was meant to be as simple as possible. Originally it was going to be printed in only one piece, but we had to separate it in two because of the size of the printer. And so on the back side, I didn't really make a chassis. We just assembled it and then placed it with epoxy clay, and it's very hard and it won't fall out of place. The measurements for the parts were not accurate, but we were still able to put them in place by modifying the shell with our own hands, because we thought it would be faster than printing again. And I had a little incident here with the speed, but that was fixed with epoxy clay as well. And yes, this is the antenna and this is the car shell.
Has already been removed the material, and we will be continuing removing the rest of the material needed for the shell.
The first design that I made was very different. I didn't think of including spaces for the parts or for the wheels, so I modified it by instead making this empty, and on this side taking into account the parts and the whole mechanism for the wheels, because otherwise it wouldn't have a place for it to stick on. So this brings it good support without needing to cut it horizontally. I didn't need to assemble a chassis. Was based on the Strati, which is also a 3D printed car, and it has very simple design because I didn't want to overcomplicate when printing, and it has lights here and on the back, and for the wheels, or for where the wheels are placed, I made a swept blend for each. And it's very simple, and I wanted to make it small, just so that the pieces that we needed for it to move, those are the only pieces that were included.
Okay, so this is our first trial of our car. We printed it 50% off of our actual car. The reason was for this, just to see the small errors that we needed, which we did find the errors. Right here, we don't need that just because it blocks the parts of where the battery and everything, all the other components go in there. We also noticed that we can remove this material that we don't need it, and it was just adding extra timing in our final car. We didn't print the other side just because we didn't need the other side to realize the minor errors.
Okay, talking a little bit about the engineering analysis of our car, we can say that it was a lot of work. In general, creating our new model of the Apex touring car, it was very difficult to assemble the car again without using the chassis, the original chassis of the car, as well as trying to assemble which was based on the Strati car. Throughout this procedure, in attempts of improving our new Apex car, we encountered a lot of issues when printing our first and second models. But after realizing some of these problems, we then proceeded to edit them on Creo and print it again until it was resolved. It was a very long procedure because printing our car shell would delay approximately 12 hours for the first half of the car and approximately 14 hours for the second half of the car. We had to take turns to stay at the same engineering lab to check the progress of our models, which was very hectic for all of us because we had to ensure that the printer was not having any issues.
how to use Creo Parametric 3.0 and 4.0. I learned how to do features like swept blend, like revolve, and like holes. Like I learned how to do sketches that were difficult for me at the beginning of the class. I learned how to model pieces using a physical reference and a caliper. I learned how to assemble parts and how to make them fit together and use the constraints so that it is correctly assembled. I learned how to model pieces so that when printing, I avoid mistakes that occur with the material or with just the way it is printed. I also learned how to do drawings correctly, how to put the dimensions so that it is clear, so that you can understand and so that it's not redundant. And yeah, that's all I learned.
Okay, so what I learned for this project was very unique because we were able to see from the very beginning the whole reverse engineering, how we took all the parts apart and analyzed them. The reason why we analyzed them was very cool because we were able to remember where the parts belonged and when we had to replicate the parts and do them on the PTC Creo. It was cool because we had to be very precise and exact when we recreated the part, because if it wasn't as exact, we did have a little bit of trouble in the whole assembly. We did have to fix the parts when we tried to recreate the whole chassis on the whole in the Creo. It was hectic at times, but we were able to make it work. That also helped us remember the parts. Even though we did have pictures of where the parts belonged, we were able to learn the function of the car, of what each part did. I thought that was really cool. I wasn't really familiar about cars, and even though this was like an electrical car, I was able to learn what each function did, like the servo and all that stuff, how everything helped and why you needed those parts in the car in order to function. That was really cool to learn about that. Also, I think my favorite part of the whole project was the whole 3D printing. When we were learning about the whole 3D, I was scared about the machines. But after 12 hours watching the car print, it was really cool because you were able to see from the very bottom, like started from the bottom, and how everything just went up and created the car. I think that was really cool about it. The whole design, we worked as a team to design the car, which was fun because we had to think how to make everything fit without using the actual parts of the chassis and all that stuff, which was challenging, but it was fun because we were able to think as kind of like engineers, kind of how to make it work. Another thing that I liked was that we worked as a team. Even though we both were not strong on Creo, we didn't depend on one another. We rather helped each other out. We helped on whatever, like someone struggled on something, we helped each other out. And I think that was the good part that helped us become better at Creo, because we didn't have someone strong. We kind of helped each other out and we learned and we improved our skills. I think there is some designs that I wasn't able to do in the beginning, but now I think I can do it. It would take me time, but I feel more confident on able to do like a challenging design. And I think that's what helped me the most this whole project to like improve my designing skills, which is really fun too. Overall, I I like that I was able to work on this hands-on to see from the very beginning. Also, when we put our car together, it was functioning fine, but we did have trial errors. We did test the car and we crashed. So that really messed everything up because it wasn't glued together. Well, it wasn't glue. We didn't use glue, but the parts were not like tight. So when it crashed, it really messed the whole inside. And when we tried to fix it, it was a little too late, to try to fix it. And so our car would just go straight and then it would turn. So yeah, that was our engineering error. But we did have videos of where a car goes straight and it was fast. I think we had everything together. It was just the crash that really just put our car bad. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a summary of what I learned. And I feel more confident on Creo, using Creo, and I'm glad that I learned all of that. Even though times it was hard, it helped me improve my skills on Creo, and I'm able to say that I feel confident enough to be able to put a challenge and make a design when before I was scared. So yeah.
Okay, so in conclusion, we did have some errors in our car, but we were able to fix it and able to move it and keep it moving forward. The errors were there, but we were able just to handle that. And that's our car model.